Welcome. We are here with another edition of Conversations Different, the New Mexicans Weekly podcast. This is Inez Russell Gomez, and this week it's all about fun. David Fresquez is here to tell us about a new sports team in Santa Fe. Welcome, David.
Hello, guys. How are you?
Well, we're glad you're here, and tell us what you're up to. You're always up to something, it seems like.
Yeah, so we've got the Santa Fe Gloom futsal. It's a brand new product to Santa Fe. Kind of just some brief history on myself before I kind of get into the fun stuff. Born and raised here in beautiful Santa Fe, New Mexico. My mom had the 18-30 rule, which meant once I turned 18, I had 30 days to move out. So
ouch.
That's exactly what I did. I was very lucky to go to Colorado State, Pueblo, played soccer there. Fast forward into my grad years, walked into a nursing home, fell in love with working with the elderly. And one thing that the elderly had in common was they missed home, they missed family. So I said, that's the ticket. I worked with the San Antonio Spurs for a little while, came back home to Santa Fe, and started up a company called Age Friendly Senior Care, where we help the elderly age in place at home with caregivers. Also to serve as the board president of the Santa Fe Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. That's kind of my volunteer work. We host the 40 Under 40 Business Leaders Awards. So thank you so very much for you all sponsoring that event with us and putting all those 40 under 40 business leaders out into the community and just making sure they get their recognition where it's deserved.
Well, it's always inspiring to see what people are doing, and it makes me think, anyway, that the leadership of Santa Fe is in good hands.
Great hands.
Yeah,
it's all about the future when you think about the 40 under 40, and all of those recipients are our future leaders.
That is true. So you're volunteering at the Chamber of Commerce. You have a busy company. How do you have time to bring a sports team to Santa Fe?
Yeah, good question. So I make time. I think it's definitely my passion and my love. I grew up playing soccer here in Santa Fe. So I said, how do I also give back to the community and in a fun way, right? Not to say that my company's not fun, because I love that. And the Hispanic Chamber's taught me a lot of great things and giving back to the community.
But it's not an entertainment. Like, you can't take your family to watch someone take care of an old person at home.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah,
That's
so
right.
This is an activity that the whole family can go watch and have fun at.
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah. So we had our first game, I wouldn't say it was about a month ago, at Santa Fe High School. It was Santa Fe Gloom versus Colorado Futsal Academy. We had about 400 people at this game. It was free admission. My company, Age Friendly, sponsored that event, and it was unbelievable. We won that game 6-4. We started off 4-0, then I think it went 4-2, and then 6-4. I think that was the outcome of the game. And so it was like back and forth. And the cool thing about futsal is you can score really quick.
So
right?
It's not like soccer where you sit and watch it go forever and ever and ever, and if they get 1 point at the end, it's been an exciting game?
That's right. Yeah. So an exciting game for futsal is 10 goals, right?
Wow.
That's what we had in our first game, which was 6-4. We scored in the first 8 seconds of the game, which, I asked the league through Instagram. I said, was that the fastest score ever in the futsal league? And they said it was a second. So almost. So we have some work to do. I guess we can score in 5 seconds this time.
Yeah.
Maybe we can get there. But it was just a great event that we brought to Santa Fe. And obviously, our city, we have the Fuego, right? That brings people in. And I was thinking, well, why not a soccer team as well?
Right. And you've tried this before, haven't you?
Yeah, so I didn't try the futsal concept,
right.
But we tried the arena soccer concept, right, with Major Arena Soccer League. But that's definitely, I think, in the future as well as all of this grows, right? We don't want to rule anything out. We don't want to cap ourselves to just futsal, because other communities have futsal, arena soccer, and outdoor soccer. They have all of these things that we eventually want to bring to Santa Fe.
So basically, you're taking advantage of the fact that more people than ever are interested in soccer. It's a hugely popular sport. And in the winter, let's say you don't have a kid in high school and you're not that interested in watching basketball, this gives families something to go do inside where there's no snow or rain or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. And I think one thing that Santa Fe is missing in a community is we don't have an indoor soccer space.
Yes.
Right? We don't have that at the moment.
Yeah. We found that out when the Chavez Center was not as easily adaptable,
that's
perhaps.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. So, I think that's, again, this is talking about the future, is that we want our city leadership to recognize that the Santa Fe Gloom, is doing big things, right, and bringing people out, and that we do want to have either a shared space or our own space in the future for soccer, because kiddos want to play year-round. And believe it or not, Santa Fe does get cold, right? From December really through March, there's snow on the ground sometimes, right? So we're missing out, I guess, you can do the math, 4 to 5 months at least of activity that these kids are missing out on a competitive level, because Albuquerque, Las Cruces, our southern neighbors, they're playing soccer year-round.
They have an indoor space.
That's right.
I don't know if it's possible if you could do an indoor space that could be soccer and performance, so you could do other things there, because really for a cultural city, we don't have necessarily that mid-sized venue. The Lenzik is kind of as close as it gets. So it'd be nice if someone could recognize that and design a space that would hold indoor sports and maybe be a concert arena or that kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah, I think it's moving towards a shared space, multi-use space, so that it's utilized 24/7 essentially. That way we make the numbers work, and that it's a profitable venture for someone.
Right, that would be fun, because I mean, one of the things people complain about is there's never enough to do in Santa Fe, which, for me, since I like to go home and read, I disagree, but I have to, bow to the public, because people say we want more stuff.
That's right. Yeah, I think if you're looking at, like, if you talk to teenagers, right?
Right.
I mean, that's what they're saying.
Yeah.
They're saying we want more things to do, and I think that's another real special thing about the Santa Fe Gloom is that we have local players, right? For example, Jesus Garcia, who grew up here in Santa Fe, played in Northern Soccer. That's the Northern local club here.
Right.
Went to Capitol High School, Athlete of the Year, state champion soccer player. Went off to play at Eastern New Mexico, came back home for a brief period of time, and there was no team for him. At his time, this was about 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay.
So then he went to Colorado Futsal Academy in Denver and played there, and that's the first team that we played against. So, and then now I called Jesus about a year and a half ago, said, hey man, guess what? We're going to start arena soccer, right? That didn't pan out the way we wanted to, but then we pivoted to futsal, and he came back to Santa Fe. So that's a lot of what our city leaders are saying. Right, they're saying we want our kiddos to get educated, and then go out into the world and then come back.
Right, and bring those lessons.
And bring all of those great things back, and that's an example of that, what we've done with Santa Fe Gloom, because I agree with that. Right, so we're building those, those bridges to bring those kiddos back, and it's not just soccer, right? It could be internships through being a DJ, coordination through, game operations, all of those things.
Right, just learning how to set up an event and run it.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
And on that note, we'll take a short break, and we'll be back soon with David Fresquez.
Thanks, Inez. This is Patrick Dorsey, publisher of the Santa Fe New Mexican. We hope you're enjoying this episode of Conversations Different with Inez Russell Gomez. Great local content is only possible with a talented staff dedicated to bringing you the best local content possible. For that staff to do its work, we need your support by subscribing to the Santa Fe New Mexican. If you're already a subscriber, thank you. And if not, there's never been a better time to subscribe. In addition to our home-delivered newspaper that comes with full digital access, we also provide digital-only subscriptions for SantaFeNewMexican.com. We'll also be releasing more online-only audio and video programming moving forward. The Santa Fe New Mexican has been here for nearly 175 years, and we want to continue being your source for local news and information. Visit us at SantaFeNewMexican.com/subscribe or call us at 505-986-3010. Thank you.
It's a new day in New Mexico, and the doors to boundless opportunity are open as tens of thousands of New Mexicans reach higher to pursue a dream, broaden their horizons, and retrain for a better job. With the New Mexico Lottery and Opportunity Scholarships, you could build yourself a better future anywhere in the state. You put in the hard work, we'll help with the costs. For eligibility details, visit reachhighernm.com.
We are back with David Fresquez talking about a new sports team in town, the Santa Fe Gloom. David, tell us how futsal got its start.
Yeah, so great question. So from my understanding, it's essentially a Latin American sport, and a lot of our team, a lot of the players for the Gloom are exactly from Latin America, South America. We have players from Mexico, Honduras, Guatemala, Our coach, who we call Coach Brazil, he's from Brazil. Another player that we call Chile, guess what? He's from Chile, so I think that's 5 or 6.
Is he red or green? No.
Well, if you were to ask him that, he grew up in Chile and then moved to Albuquerque.
Okay.
So if we were to ask him that, I'm not sure if he would really know.
He might say Christmas.
That's right. He might say Christmas. I'm not sure what he
Yeah.
would say. Maybe I'll ask that question to him next.
Do these players get paid?
Yeah. So at the moment, they're not being paid.
Okay.
Once we start the arena soccer, those guys will be being paid because they're coming, essentially from like New Mexico United, right? Like we're targeting the New Mexico United retired players to come and play arena soccer. So those guys would probably collect some type of salary. Right now, the way that I see these players being paid is, we're paying for their trips. When we're out traveling, we're paying for their food, and just that mobility of saying, hey, I'm playing for the Santa Fe Gloom. What's the next step for me in my soccer career?
Do most of these guys have a job during the day, and then this is something they practice at night on weekends, that
Correct.
kind of thing?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So that's how this futsal concept is right now. Is they're working during the day, and in the evenings we're practicing and doing our thing.
So they basically have to believe that this is opening a future for them that they want.
100%. 100%. And I think as a whole, you would see that really in any other city, and even looking at USL, which is another league outdoor, a lot of those players are playing for free until they get to where they want to go. So it's very grassroots. Soccer is very competitive. It's the world sport. So these guys are definitely seeing this as an opportunity to get to that next step.
Wow, they're brave. Because you think about, because you're playing on a hard surface.
That's
your
right.
poor knees.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's hard. What was the reaction to the first game? 400 people is a decent crowd. And is it something people were familiar with, or were they like, wow, I've never seen this before?
Yeah, I think the audience that we got there were a lot of kids and families. So what we did was we rented out the court starting at 3:30 until 6:30, and we had teams play futsal on the court that the Gloom was playing on at Santa Fe High School. So they were familiar with like that indoor soccer concept, futsal, and one of our players, Nick Kashmir, he plays for Santa Fe Gloom. He coaches at a club team in Albuquerque, and he brought his kids from Albuquerque to Santa Fe, and they were real familiar with futsal. So to answer your question, I feel like the crowd did have a good understanding of futsal, and I'll tell you why. Is because when we scored, it was obviously super loud, and then the kids were right down by the floor cheering on our guys and clapping the players' hands. And I think that's a super cool concept that you don't necessarily get from that 90-minute game of outdoor, is when they score, yes, it's great, but they're not having those kids come out and like touch their hands and clapping high fives.
That happens after, I guess.
That
like at the
after,
you
right.
think about the United games that
That's right.
that have really formed such a community.
That's right.
And this is a chance to form that kind of community all the way through the game.
100%. That's right.
Now, Santa Fe Gloom obviously is a nod to Old Man Gloom, I would assume, but the logo shows like this little spook. So how did you come up with the idea of gloom, the ghost in the sheet kind of thing?
Yep. Yeah, so worked with a marketing company here in Santa Fe, and my suggestions to them were like make it feel like a homegrown team. That when you hear this name, are people who have lived in Santa Fe, for centuries, they're going to be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Or some other family who's moved here, right? Or the kids or the teenagers are going to really like that too.
So you wanted it something that they were familiar with.
That's right. Yeah, I wanted something that was symbolic and iconic to the community. And there's another interesting aspect to that too. So, I really like the name Santa Fe Roots, ROOTS, because when people say, here in Santa Fe, they're like, well, where are you? They're not saying, how are you? They're asking, where are you from?
And how long have you been here?
And how long have you been here in the traditions of Santa Fe?
Right.
So I really like that name. And then when they brought the Gloom to me, I was like, what the heck are these guys talking about? The Gloom? That doesn't make any sense. And then right when I said sense, I was like, oh, this makes perfect sense.
Right.
So I think it definitely touched on so many different things with the community. And one interesting thing that the Gloom offers is that a lot of our players who are immigrants, right, who play for our team, all those countries I mentioned, they came to me and they said, what is Gloom? They didn't know, right? So I think this is a great opportunity, marrying the tourism department, right, our local community of Santa Feans who've been here for centuries, right, And then, obviously Zozobra, right?
Right.
To link them together with our immigrant community, right? Who mostly lives on the South Side, to put all those pieces together to form like an amazing fan base.
Right. So
'Cause
it's a unifier.
Exactly. Because a lot of people say, well, our city's divided for X, Y reasons. Some may have some valid reasons, but the Gloom is really kind of the opposite. It's going to bring everyone together. So when the Gloom is in your neighborhood or when the Gloom's playing, they're like, this is a good thing, because
Right.
the Gloom kind of has a negative vibe. But for us Santa Fans, we're like, no, we know exactly what this is.
Yeah, we're
This
gonna
is
get
great.
rid of our
This
Gloom.
is awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Gloom isn't on us, right? The Gloom's on the other team, right?
I
So
see.
when they come into Santa Fe and the elevation, and they're like, oh man, this sucks. We're getting scored on. There's a bunch of kids here. They're having fun. The Santa Fe New Mexicans covering it, on the stream. We're having a great time. They're going to feel like Gloom.
Oh, good. So we'll have the home court advantage.
Huge.
Is there merchandise? Can I go buy a Gloom T-shirt?
Yeah, it's a great question. So our February 10th games at 7 o'clock, we play our rivals in Albuquerque, New Mexico flagship. We are selling T-shirts at $20.
Okay.
And that's going to be what's called like a blackout night. So we're asking our crowd to wear like black T-shirts.
Okay.
And then we'll be selling the Santa Fe Gloom T-shirts there.
Right. So everyone will wear black, and that'll intimidate the other team big time.
100%.
And where do we find you online or out in the internet world? Because I'm sure there's
so
presence.
There's Facebook and Instagram. I think and Twitter, I guess, which is X now.
Right.
So it's just Santa Fe Gloom.
Okay.
It's that simple. Our website is going to be up, I'd say, in probably a couple weeks, hopefully before our first game. We just really want to get our website right. But our socials are all out there. Santa Fe Gloom. Just type that into Facebook or Instagram.
And your game on February 10th starts when?
7 o'clock. The doors will open at 3:30 because we'll have what we call showcase matches. And our target market for that is the kids. Right? So they're coming in, learning futsal from the players, scrimmaging, having fun, and then they're staying for the game.
Nice.
That's the concept.
So you could take your kids there with an older brother and go shopping and then come back.
100%.
And watch the game
That's
with
right.
them.
That's right. 100%.
Unload your children for
That's
the
right.
afternoon.
That's
Thank
right.
you, Santa Fe Gloom.
That's right. That's right. That's right. And we're asking for the businesses to sponsor these events. Right?
Okay.
So that's kind of our next ask in all of this. But I think it's a great vibe. It's a great thing because when you come to the Santa Fe Gloom games, you're walking away like, I got a great deal.
Right.
Obviously in the future we're going to have probably a $10 ticket admission. 0 to 12 will always go free. But we wanted to make it a good deal for people, right?
So the next game is still free?
Correct.
Okay.
That's right. Yeah, we want to send a good gesture and start off on the right foot, that we value accessibility, right? So often you see companies either building a good reputation and then hiking their prices.
Right.
We don't necessarily want to do that, right? We want to make sure that everyone is accepted into the Santa Fe Gloom games and are having a great time.
How do you make this a viable financial proposition?
Yeah, I think it is already. I
Right.
think working with the community leaders, city council, Larry Chavez at Santa Fe Public Schools, he did an amazing job for us, helping us get that venue. Santa Fe High School saying, yes, you can have this venue, right? And we're obviously renting it. But I think if we have all the community leaders coming in, business leaders, we can make this viable for the community moving forward.
Do you make money at some point, or is this like an investment for you, or is this just...
Yeah, I think for me, it's an investment. It's also giving back. And kind of what you asked me, earlier on is how do I make time for this? I just love it. Soccer gave so much to me, and I want to give back to the community, and we're looking for like-minded people to do the same thing, either business owners, community leaders, to build this up, because we want to see all those kids who are playing in those showcase games to be future Gloom players. So that's our investment, right? You want to stop, drugs in the community, invest in the Santa Fe Gloom, or something like Santa Fe Gloom, right? Investing into the kids, investing into the community. That's the best way to do this.
So basically, this is a chance in the present for me to go on a Saturday and have a great time watching this fun match. Mm-hmm. But with the kids, it's a longer-term proposition.
100%.
Nice.
That's right. Yep.
Well, we'll be back in one more moment with Dave Fresquez talking about Santa Fe Gloom.
My name is Maria Jose Rodriguez Cadiz, and I am the Executive Director with Solace Sexual Assault Services. Our mission is to prevent sexual violence and empower survivors of sexual violence through restoring dignity, strength, and resiliency. For almost 51 years, Solace has reduced the impact of sexual violence. We do it by focusing on human rights, social justice, hope, and dignity. We believe survivors are experts in their own experiences and acknowledge that empowering them is crucial to their healing. Our advocacy, forensic interviewing, and therapy services are centered to their needs. Our sexual violence prevention programs in schools and community is just as important. Please check our website at findsolace.org. And if in need, you can call our 24/7 hotline, which is 800-721-7273. Your support is crucial to the lives of survivors. Thank you. Gracias.
We're back with Conversations Different, talking about Santa Fe Gloom. And unlike most gloom, this is one that could bring a lot of joy to Santa Fe. So tell us what your vision is as this sport grows and thrives in this town.
Yeah, another great question. So I think the vision is that kiddos could see Santa Fe Gloom players at their local games, right? So when Northern Soccer is playing, rec leagues are playing, you're having Santa Fe Gloom players be present into the community. So often when you're seeing like professional athletes, they're not as accessible as some people would want, right? So I think just the players being into the community is one legacy we want to leave. Two, we want our community buildings, right, to be accessible to all of Santa Fe. Such as the Chavez Center. You know, I think that is definitely obviously one of our goals, or something like the Chavez Center. Because again, when you speak Santa Fe Gloom, you speak community, and we want all of our fans and our public and their kids to be in one space, right? So we want to have, you know, a headquarters of Santa Fe Gloom in the future as well. A lot of guys have also asked about outdoor soccer, right?
Right.
And that could be a thing as well in the future. I think right now our focus is futsal, arena soccer, all of those things that I think are low-hanging fruit for our community.
And what this does is brings different segments of town together because, you know, Santa Fe Prep has a soccer team, Capital has
That's
a
right.
soccer team.
That's right.
And it also, so you end up meeting people you might not otherwise meet.
Correct.
And you both enjoy the same sport.
That's right. Yeah, and not only that is that if you're playing for Capital, Santa Fe High Prep, St. Mike's, right, you know, other local high schools, now you can play together with the Santa Fe Gloom.
Right. So
Right,
it
as a
really
player.
brings people together.
That's right. Exactly.
So what should I expect if I show up on February 10th and go to that game?
Yeah.
What will I see?
So the first thing you're going to see is, you know, Santa Fe Gloom merchandise, right? You're going to see lots of people excited, lots of kids, and you're also going to hear a DJ, right? We had a live DJ playing throughout the game. Colorado Futsal Academy, they didn't like that too much because the players were complaining that they couldn't hear, and we kind of had to tell the DJ to kind of lower it a little bit. And then once we scored, we kind of put the music back up a little higher. But that's that's kind of the home field advantage. But it's just great vibes, you know, great family fun, lots of goals, and just a great time. And I think once people see that concept of futsal, they're going to be like, this is amazing, right? And I think everybody can get behind the Gloom name because it's so Santa Fe. So I just think it's just positive vibes all the way around.
Nice. And on that note, this has been another edition of Conversations Different. We'll be back again next week. It's Inez Russell Gomez signing out.